Hello and welcome. This is my portfolio playground and I want to walk you through some of the things that it can do. Real quick, this is a React technology. It's built on React. It uses React hooks. It uses React context. It also uses React Redux for different things because I wanted to kind of play with both. Everything, as far as I could possibly do it, is baked into the actual UI code itself. I imported as few things as possible just to make it all work. So this is a playground, not my real portfolio. You have things like projects, we have games, multimedia, and different technologies and things. So for projects, everything in here is actually coming from a JSON object and it's building the page based off of what it sees. I can see every external link is automatically generating that little extra symbol and going to an extra page in a new tab to actually get there. That's actually just baked into the general markdown component that's there, and then I'm using a custom link component to accomplish that. And then in here I have the actual YouTube video embedded. Right now it's just the still thumbnail, and then when I click on it, it actually converts into the video itself. Loading the video takes an awful lot of resources to even just load up the general thumbnail, so I'm not actually loading it until you click. It saves quite a bit of bandwidth until you actually need it. It is very basic bulleted markdown elements coming from just coming from the markdown document there. And then same thing with Ride the Teacup, same type of element, the image that's there, which will load the YouTube video once you actually get into it. I have some games that are built in, so I have Typescript Tic-Tac-Toe for when I was playing around with Typescript. You can actually play a full playable game directly in here. Completely playable. All built into Typescript, just very basic application. You can actually go through and see the project on GitHub should you want to, or you can play my focus game. We'll get into that a little bit also, but it's just basically baked into baked right here into the smaller screen. I can say, oh, that's Snow White, and miraculously, I'm correct in just 27 seconds. That's pretty cool, actually. That I actually got that. And then we have things like multimedia. So I just built a very basic YouTube exploration here, so you can go through. It'll change the description that's there. And then just based off of what it is that it sees. So same thing over here, it's just the regular screenshot until you click on it, and then it actually loads the video to be able to explore YouTube and go through that. Same thing with each of these, just loads up the individual. When you go back, it's unloaded the video and put the screen back on so that you're not losing your place. All of that just to say state and hooks are controlling all of that. Also got a technology section here that just has a few Giphies, which is super simple. We'll get to that in a second. The way this is all controlled is through Redux, so I can actually, I'm showing dogs and cats, and I can see in here I do indeed have Giphies of cats and dogs. I can clear out a section. I can add 80s cartoons into it, or I can type in and look for Disney. It has a free text search. The drop-down checkbox is one of mine. One of my built components as well, coded by hand for React. And then when I actually close it by clicking out anywhere, you can see I've got a selection of 80s cartoons, some Disney stuff that's thrown in there, and so it's actually made those calls. And that's handled with Redux as opposed to context. I told you that context was part of it. Just using it in a very basic sense here, so I can actually see where my context actually lies. It is the green area, so I can see where this context is controlling. I can change that into a dark mode if I really want to. And you can see it's not just, I'm not using it just to change the background. The text is all turned to white. The panels have changed colors. The hover color and the actual border color are correct. The game itself has changed colors. Now the grid here is with black trim instead of with white trim, or white lines instead of black lines for the context, and of course the links and everything have changed. So yeah, it changed quite a bit here, just based off of the context that's showing. Each of these different individual sections have a context. They work independently of each other because that's how context works, of course. Get here a little bit under the hood to show kind of how things are actually looking. If I get into my component view, I can actually see, let's find this guy here. So I have my game layout that's here, and then my context provider, which is providing all of my styles. I can see right here I'm in the light mode, and I haven't toggled anything. I can show my controller, which will toggle that to true, of course, and then change to the dark mode, which sets the context hook to dark. And then just to show the actual technology section also, I can get rid of everything here, go to just rock bands, I can go to Star Wars, in BBC favorites, and then we'll click out of there. You see it ran a quick query and then show successful. Down here, oh, my context is still showing. Hide that. I can see, obviously, I do have some Star Wars in here. Star Wars kind of taking over everything, which is kind of funny. Star Wars section tends to do that, so let's get rid of Star Wars. And then I'll show, now I've got rock bands and BBC favorites. I've got my rock bands in there. There's Mr. Bean. Showing up some Doctor Who is there, a little Metallica, and I can actually see the network tab made a call for a search, and when I selected the rock bands, it's actually looking specifically for Metallica, Pearl Jam, Black Sabbath, Korn. There's some Star Wars in there, Yoda, Darth Vader. Looks like that was kind of in between calls. When I took out the Star Wars, I can see, just doing that, there's some Father Ted, Doctor Who, Mr. Bean, my limits and all those type of things, and then loading directly into the Redux store, I can see my fetch Giphy images is moving, and then the successful call with all of the data is in here. And so I can show you again with just 80s cartoons, fire off the fetch Giphy images for the loading, and then the success is true with just those updated images, which are now showing in here. So got some Redux working, got some context going. Everything is based in hooks using React Router, so you can see I'm just showing technology. I can get out of that and show everything. I haven't lost anything in the technology. So React Router is working in here as well. So all of that just to show a very basic introduction over the Portfolio Playground. Lots of technology inside of here that I'm just kind of playing with to see how it all works. So thanks for watching. I hope it's been helpful.